So I want to talk to you about bad eating habits and specifically how to break bad eating habits, because I see this as the primary reason why so many people are stuck, unable to lose body fat, unable to get leaner, stuck at a certain weight plateau despite training a lot, sometimes even 6-7 sessions a week, adding cardio on top of that, trying to do their best, but you simply can't outtrain a bad diet. And it's a lot of bad eating habits that might have accumulated, that might have been built up for the last 5, 10, 15 years. I know when I started my journey, one of the main challenges were some of those habits that I was carrying with me since my childhood. And maybe you're in that same situation, that there are a lot of these unconscious things that you do with your nutrition that are holding you back and keeping you stuck at 15% or 20 or 25, even 30, 35% body fat. There's a set of habits that you need to change in order to get leaner. Now, in this video, I want to give you 4 steps that you can use to break bad eating habits and really start breaking those plateaus as well and start getting leaner. Now, the first thing you need to do to break your bad eating habits is to simply make those habits harder to do. And the reason why this works is because our brains are lazy. We've evolved to conserve energy. The brain doesn't want to do things that are very difficult. So why not make the good eating habit easier to do and the bad eating habit harder to do? And this is simply you working with the way your brain is designed. Instead of what most people do when they go on a diet, when they try to lose weight, they try to use willpower, they try to do motivation, they try to do inspiration, they really try to go really hard at it, but they're going against how their brains work. They are going against biology, and they're simply going to lose that battle. But if you work with your brain, for example, if you find yourself snacking late at night and eating a lot of cookies or donuts or things that are in the house, what are those things doing in the house to begin with? What if those things were harder to do? Now, what if easier, healthier snacks are available? You are going to go for those healthier snacks. And even if you do end up eating more than you planned, at least you're not going to go in a massive surplus and end up gaining a lot of body fat. So it's not going to be a huge setback. So really, when you look at your life right now, think about from the moment that you get the impulse, when you get the urge, when you get the craving, how easy it is for you to actually do that bad habit. How convenient is it for your brain to just grab that cookie, to grab that donut, to grab that ice cream, and just make it harder? Add layers of friction between your impulse and that behavior, and you're gonna be well on your way to breaking your bad eating habits. Now, the second thing you wanna do, and this one is very critical here, is to make sure that you have an if-then set of plans. So if this happens, then I'm gonna do that. And what I mean by this, and what this ultimately boils down to, is leveraging something called the default mode network. Now, I'm not gonna bother you too much with the brain science behind this, but one of the powers of being a human being is the fact that we can visualize the future and we can make plans for it. So when you mentally rehearse challenging situations like this and you overcome them mentally, you're actually training yourself to be better in those same situations when those situations occur in real life. And this is so powerful. I do this a lot with my clients and do these mental rehearse exercises, and you can actually form different types of plans. So for example, if I get a craving late at night, then I'm gonna execute this procedure. So you're basically programming your brain in a way, and you're thinking almost like a software engineer. I mean, I used to be a software engineer, so I tend to apply a lot of those same principles to how the mind works, and you really have a plan in place, which means that you don't have to do too much thinking. There is not much decision fatigue in there, and you simply have to execute. And this works really, really well. And you can simply leverage any situation you have and then make a plan for it. And ultimately, when you look at your lifestyle and really what's holding you back, there's probably 5 to 10, maybe 15 situations where you fall apart. And if you can figure out every single one of those situations, you're gonna win. You're gonna know how to overcome them. You're gonna have a plan, and you're gonna ultimately crush it. So this is a really critical piece of the puzzle, to have those plans in place instead of trying to wing it. And of course, when you try to wing it, then there's a lot of uncertainty that can add stress and then ultimately lead to you falling off track. And by the way, if you're liking this so far, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button below. It means a lot to me. It does help make sure that this video goes out to more people, so it will help more people out there who are also on the fitness journey. So please do that. Go below and hit that like button. And now let's move on to the third step. So the third step that I would like you to do is think about what your goal here is, because a lot of people, when you have a lot of bad eating habits, they tend to go to the opposite extreme and they try to aim for 100% perfect clean diet, thinking that that's the actual goal of dialing in your nutrition. In fact, when you look at what works long term, it's not that 100% clean, I'll never be able to eat pizza ever again type of approach. It's actually finding an approach that's very sustainable for you personally. So an approach that's, number one, sustainable for you to be in a calorie deficit, but eventually then when you get out of that calorie deficit, something that you really enjoy. So a diet that is made out of healthy foods, but the foods that you really enjoy. And on top of that, what you want to be thinking is in ratios. You don't want to be thinking in all or nothing. Like a lot of people think in all or nothing. So it's either 100% clean or I'm going to binge every day. You want to be thinking in ratios. If I pick a ratio, let's say the ratio I usually recommend is about 80-20, so 80% whole healthy unprocessed foods, and then 20% you can have your treats from time to time. I personally love pizzas, I love pastas, I love Italian food in general, so that is usually where my 20% comes in, and I want to make sure that I have that nice balance. And if I'm 80% good, and if I'm then that 20%, I still don't go out there and eat 10,000 calories. I still simply enjoy that, but I can incorporate it into my lifestyle so it makes my diet very sustainable. And really, once you dial this in, you don't have to do it many times. This is simply one thing that you do in your life, and you have a plan that works for you, a plan that's sustainable, a plan that you can really see yourself doing for the rest of your life, and it simply works. So think about the real goal here. The real goal here is not to go extreme 100% clean. The real goal here is to actually find a sustainable approach that you can moderate with properly and then have for the rest of your life. It's not that sprint, it's a marathon. So think about this in that way. And that really sets us up for the ability for you to succeed. Because if you go extreme, that's not sustainable, so that's going to hold you back no matter what habits you have. If you go too extreme, you're simply fighting an uphill battle and you're not going to win eventually. Now, the step number 4 for you to break your bad eating habits is to discover the root cause for why that bad eating habit formed to begin with. What's the cause that triggers that habit to occur? What happened when it first started? So some of your habits might be random, and of course there's a set of those types of habits, but a lot of our bad eating habits are simply coping mechanisms for something else that's happening in our life. Let me give you an example. Let's say you find yourself stress eating at night. Let's say you're emotionally eating. Well, for a lot of those types of situations, it's something that happened during the day, maybe at work. You got stressed out, something caused you anxiety, and now food has become the tool to relieve that anxiety. And of course it doesn't work. It's simply a band-aid on a broken leg to make you feel a little bit better, but it doesn't really do much. It doesn't solve the root cause of the issue. And if you have such a situation, well, the only way to solve the situation would be to address it at work. For why are you being stressed out? What's causing that anxiety? Do you need to have a conversation with your boss? Do you need to have a conversation with your coworker? So what is going on there? If you discover these root causes, then untangling these bad eating habits will get a lot easier because you're addressing the real problem. You're not just trying to fix something else that is not even the right thing to fix if the root cause is complete mismatch. So this is very, very important to recognize. And I think if you can do this, you're going to discover so much about what your bad eating habits are, and not just bad eating habits. This is actually similar for other bad habits, such as drinking, to relieve stress, to numb yourself from uncertainty in life, from things like that. So if you can really critically analyze yourself like this, and this is again what I do a lot with my clients, to be able to really see what's going on. If you can be objective with this, you're gonna solve a lot of bad habits in your life, and you're gonna be well on your way to becoming the absolute best version of yourself, and I'm very confident you'll be able to do this. If you like this video, again, hit that like button below. Also, make sure to leave a comment below, as well as subscribe to the channel to get more content like this if you find this content helpful, and I will see you in the next video.